it seems you try to stop thinking, and you read all this and you try to practice it, but yet in any given situation, I find that in order to get closer to practicing it or even practice it, it's causing a lot of thoughts to happen.
It's the addiction to thinking. It's actually addictive. Can't stop thinking. It's like can't stop drinking, can't stop smoking, can't stop eating, can't stop thinking. Thinking is the greater addiction than any of these.
Well, before we get into my relationship with overthinking, let's define it first. According to Merriam-Webster, overthinking means to put too much time into thinking about or analyzing something in a way that is more harmful than helpful. When I was first accused of overthinking, I just assumed the person who said it wasn't as thoughtful as I was.
Dude, I don't know why you're overthinking this. I gotta get out of here. I gotta go think about this.
Don't go home and think about this, you big pussy.
But at the time, I didn't even know if overthinking was good or bad. Now, I'd say it's both. So let's get the bad stuff out of the way and start with paralysis by analysis. See, I believe one can only research so much before making a decision and moving on. Is something I've never said. This paralysis will often manifest itself as an unrelenting form of buyer's remorse. Let's say I wanted to buy a camera lens because I needed a wide-angle lens to start shooting real estate. After enjoyable yet exhaustive research, I purchased pretty good 16 to 35 and 12mm lenses. Yes. But here's where it gets ugly. After receiving the lenses, I start thinking maybe I should have just bought the best, most expensive 16 to 35mm lens for the same price of the two decent lenses I did purchase. What if that one premium lens could take the place of 2 or 3 lenses I already had? See, it never ends for me. And all the while, I should be using this stuff instead of worrying about a purchase that was already researched and made. And my overthinking isn't limited to purchases. Trying to think of a video idea or a direction for this YouTube channel becomes an exercise in creative self-destruction. How many times can I shoot down one of my own ideas because I ask myself,
who cares about this? Or if they do care, how long will they care for? And if they do care for long, will they reach a point where they just stop caring? Fuck!
Yikes. Overthinking has even extended to my relationships. I remember after I started dating my wife, I was going back and forth on whether or not I should even... On second thought... So we've covered the negatives, but are there any good things that come from overanalyzing or overthinking? Well, according to my therapist, there is.
My name is Michael Beauchamp. I'm a licensed mental health therapist and I've been in private practice for about 15 years. I met Jason about 6 years ago and he's been a client of mine since.
For starters, while buyer's remorse is always a concern, I still generally make more informed purchase decisions than someone who didn't do any research at all.
He's afraid of making the wrong decision, which is why he does so much research. But really what the research is a crutch. What he's doing is procrastinating making a decision. He doesn't want to make a decision because he's afraid of what the end result will be, whatever it is, which again leads back down this road of insecurity. He's afraid of acceptance even by himself. Really, this is a form of self-loathing, which clinically can be traced back to, again, his early childhood experience.
This also leads to the educational aspect of overthinking a decision. When I dive into a subject, I learn so much, it's like going to school but only taking classes in topics I'm interested in.
Jason is a dreamer who is shipwrecked on a voyage of self-discovery. He calls it research, but really what it is an inability to look inward to see who he really is. He distracts himself by looking at all the angles, trying to gather as much information, however useless, on whatever subject it is that he's looking at. Honestly, I believe this stems from his early childhood experience, where maybe he wasn't loved enough, held enough. I don't even think he was breastfed as a child.
So I simply wanted Michael to touch on my relationship with overthinking, both the good and the bad, but I'm struggling to see the connection between that and breast milk. But in the spirit of this video, I've decided not to overthink this edit, and I'm going to leave Michael's comments as is.
Jason suffers from an analytical obsessive compulsive disorder. Many research studies indicate that if you are not born vaginally, that cesarean births can deprive you of the necessary bacteria, the flora and fauna, that allow for our brain to develop into normal levels of analysis and emotional health. Really, what Jason needs is to be able to connect back to that inner child and resolve a lot of those emotional traumas from being brought into this world, ripped from his mother's abdomen, rather than being born naturally and in a way that was intended by God. Because Jason wasn't loved either physically or emotionally as a child, it has driven him to a form of self-expression in rap, which is notorious for being both male-dominated and misogynistic. Essentially what he's doing is lashing out at his mother by using a very demeaning art form against women as a way of expressing his inner childhood rage.
All right, I do feel the need to clear the air a little bit here to clarify. I never told my therapist that I wasn't loved as a child. And at this point, I'm starting to think that Michael misunderstood what this interview was supposed to be about. And while I listen to hip hop maybe occasionally, I don't feel like I have any childhood rage that I need to express, let alone do it through rap music.
The ghetto boy said it, my mind's playing tricks on me. My brain's like a broken record, won't stop skipping on me. When I'm trying to decide, my brain overrides all logic. Creative suicide, like a mental roller coaster, it's a nauseating ride. Got my money on my mind, but my mind is acting funny. My mind is acting funny. My mind is acting funny. My mind is acting funny.
It does look funny when you're behind me. Because all of a sudden I've seen some dude in glasses like you're right there.